Yo, what is good? My anime faithful. What is good, yo? I am pretty happy to say that Seven Deadly Sins may it look pretty bad, but my character is finally showing up because I thought he might have actually got bodied and I was scared for a little minute there. But King Arthur is alive and well, so that's pretty awesome. And it seems like he's gotten pretty strong to be able to just one-shot some demons. I mean, yeah, did it seem like he was capable of one-shotting demons before? Because he did try to put up a fight with the first real boss when it came down to the season one finale, who the guy who was like the leader of the knights, and he winds up fighting Arthur for a little bit. But Arthur couldn't even keep up with him when he didn't have as much demon powers that he did when he was going against Meliodas. So there's that to look at. But my God, was this fight lackluster thanks to the animation. I am not going to lie to y'all. I was actually cringing the whole entire time I was watching this, unfortunately, man. Like, there's certain things in this industry of anime that I look forward to. I look so forward to seeing certain things popping off, just like battles that you sometimes don't expect to happen because of friendship and stuff like that. But for Meliodas to have a reason to fight this character, Escanor, and then while fighting him, we get this dope exchange, but then it turns into nothing good in the grand scheme of how it looked as a whole. Like, part of it looked just so bad that you kind of lose the immersion. You can tell where someone was just using really bad work, and then you could see where someone, when they zoom in on the face of Escanor, however you pronounce his name, when they zoom in on his face and they give us like his eyes and how he actually is like taking stuff, that looked gorgeous. But everything else, while the fight's going, the clashes, like everything was so lackluster, man. And I was an advocate of last week's episode looking bad because you're gonna put more effort and more money, more everything into this fight, knowing that it's coming and knowing that you have to animate it. But man, I was hoping too big, and this is what I get. I get to be completely, befuddled when I'm watching it, which sucked. But at the same time, it's expected when I saw the things that came out of last week's episode. So, no real, like, I had high hopes only because I thought of, like, Dragon Ball Super. We can for sure confirm that Dragon Ball Super had some terrible episodes throughout the whole entire series of Super in general. And then all of a sudden, there was just these episodes that you wish it looked like it every time. We can say that about Boruto as well. They do the same thing. So I was hoping that was the case. I have seen multiple examples of it being the case for things. So to see it not come out the way it could have came out looking is very disappointing. But as a whole, everybody, let's talk about the good things that come out of this, which we now know that if Meliodas goes absolutely rampant, we have someone who can actually stop him in some way, shape, or form. But if he happens to go rampant at nighttime, it's over. We lose. He's loose cannon. He's done. You can't stop him. This is a really big 180 of us having the sins finally coming together and looking at a common goal to then losing one of the main sins leader, this leader of the sins, has now become the most uh, biggest plot piece to go against us simply because of not only the fact of how many people have pretty much shown up and has seen, our sins have seen Meliodas at his holding back, and now they pretty much have seen him at his fullest, where he's pushing someone like this human to use everything in his power to snuff out uh, just one person, and then after doing that, getting punched one time and being completely unconscious from it, you know. So it goes to show you he is not capable of fighting anyone after that, unless maybe it's still in a dire situation, seeing how he still had some fight in him, the way he was standing after it. But the Holy Sword, Escanor, or whatever, God, it looks. Those are the things. It's like they put so much effort and attention into that Holy Sword move that everything else, if it looked like that, it would have came out so great, and no one can complain about it. But these are the things that I don't understand, or when I don't do the research, it hurts even more to just get kicked in the face with it out of nowhere. Because usually I know that the studio gets changed and that things are gonna be a train wreck. Because there's usually more of an upcry about it from fans on YouTube about it. But I feel like a lot of things with YouTube has been changing, so a lot of people don't even really post anymore. So there wasn't really any way to find out from the people I watch anyway that this was even a thing, because they don't really care about Seven Deadly Sins already. So by not caring about Seven Deadly Sins, they're not going to be talking about it, recording about it, and giving me information. So to find out the hard way that it was a new studio was rough, but then it still comes down to this is Netflix, I'm pretty sure, controlling, or not controlling, but still having one of their, ways of saying that they kind of put their money into this to make it come out the way it does. And if it was Netflix that did this, if Netflix was the ones that chose someone differently, or maybe the people that they already were with were asking for too much money or something, so they went somewhere else, or the studio just dropped it in general and then Netflix had to go somewhere else. I don't know. And that would have been a much more intelligent thing on my part to go in there knowing that was coming up. But I feel like a lot of people didn't know that going into Seven Deadly Sins this season. And the big tall tale sign that they took out real quick was the gore. The gore effect of having white blood pop up whenever stuff happened. Seeing how I think this was coming on like cable, so I guess they just didn't want it to be looking like that from the studio perspective. Not 100% sure on that one, but yeah, it looks really rough. But Arthur is looking like he's going to be the next focus. We find out about a Holy Sword Excalibur existing, and that even a demon as strong as Meliodas' brother, older brother, we find out, that he can't even pull it out or mess with it. So that just goes to show you that there's probably something coming with this as a whole, which I'm looking forward to as well. Anything that kind of makes characters I enjoy stronger, I'm always looking forward to it, because this is looking like Arthur's going to be ridiculously broken. If he can pull out this sword, and if it's intimidating at all to the demons in it, just it being there, that's a good thing. So then if he gets his hands on it with all the training he has with sword, should be pretty good. I don't know what's going to happen though, but pray for Arthur to be fire. But the show looking the way it does, I have very low hopes of seeing things blow my mind. Excuse me. And that's very sad going into a series that has been blowing my mind, or had the potential of mind-blowing stuff just from the animation alone. Go and look at Meliodas versus Bond in the very first season, when they were just fighting for a weapon for Diane so she could get her sacred weapon back. Like, that fight eclipses almost this whole entire seasons of fights just by look and style alone. So it's those types of things that scare you for the future of anime. If this is what they want to call masterpiece work, they can all they want. But I think the way people will react to it and the way people will champion it compared to the other seasons is going to be much, much more of a tall tale sign at the end of the day. So, with all that being said, I do hope you guys aren't going too crazy on the Seven Deadly Sin people. Like, sure, the show doesn't look as amazing as it should in the case of like what we're used to, but I think this is another example of One Punch Man stuff. Like, the story was dope, and I want to know more about those other characters in One Punch Man. It's just the animation was such a downgrade from what it used to be, it's hard for people to be involved and enthused to watch it. So, with all that being said, though, give it a chance. If you can't get past how the animation looks, no one's gonna be mad at you for that. But make sure you just have an awesome day, night, evening, whatever the case may be. Don't treat the people who are trying their best to actually get this stuff to us badly. It's not their fault. They're just working with what they got. And what they got is whatever budget for Seven Deadly Sins. And they probably have 2 or 3 other shows they're working on that they must, have more confidence and stuff that they can do in those shows compared to this one. But whatever the case, it can be talked about in a calm and respectful way instead of trying to jump down someone's throat for something that they may not have any control over. They just had to do whatever they are dealt. So, all that being said, have an awesome one, my anime people. I am the Anime G, and I will talk to you in the next one. So, peace.